Welcome back to Worthington Model Railway, and today I'm going to attack this rock face. So let's see what I'm going to do. So I've never been totally happy with the rock face along here. I've tried some different stuff with it. Realistically, with the 009 stuff here and the slate buildings, I'm feeling that this rock face should be more like a slate rock face rather than what it's sitting at right now. So I bought a new plaster mold that looks a lot more like slate, and I'm going to start making some rocks up to rebuild this, and I'm going to strip all of this off. So first job I have to do here right now, start taking these off and getting ready to put the new rocks on. So that's my job for the next couple of hours, is to get this done, and in between getting bits of this done, pour more rocks for the new rock face, and we'll see what that looks like in a little while. So you don't need to see me doing this. Let me get some of these off and we'll see it when I'm done. So this is the new rock mold that I purchased. As you can see, it's sort of a striation slate type finish on the mold. So got to get on and start to produce some of these molds, and just use a gypsum plaster Paris mix and do that. So let's get on and mix those up. You'll see that I'm in the kitchen on the counter with the newspaper down because it tends to get messy. So I just mix this up with water. Kind of know from experience how much to mix up. Actually, it needs to be a bit thicker than that. Let's add some more in there. If it's too thin, it takes a long time to dry, and I gotta make quite a lot of these, and I can also just add water if I need to, which I probably do need to add a little water. Here we are. This is kind of thick enough now. They'll not take forever to dry, but thin enough to run into the molds, and I'm just gonna spoon it in. Don't have to be too careful with this. They're kind of going to come out differently every time in terms of depth and everything. And that was pretty much exactly the right amount. I'll put a little bit more in that one. And then once I get this done, what I tend to do is I'll just make sure you can see what I'm doing here, but I just bang it. Gets any air bubbles out. And then we'll leave it to dry. It'll take about 15-20 minutes. At this consistency, and as I've got about, to do this maybe a dozen times. Don't want it too thin, or it takes forever to dry. Okay, Just as a side, while I'm doing this, I'm taking up this water feature that I tried to make with cling film. I really don't like it, don't think it worked well, and we'll do something different in there. So as you can see, the rocks are coming off pretty easily, but I stuck them on with this liquid nails, and that is not coming off. So anyway, I got a big thing of liquid nails to put the new ones up with, and hopefully I can put a layer all the way across the existing stuff there, and it will work, but we'll see. Eagle eyes might notice that I changed my jacket. That red one I had on, I got 2 days ago, and I'm sure my wife would not be happy if I got glue and paint and God knows what else on it, so put an older one on. It's known as a box of rocks. Some of it came off more easily than others. This area here is particularly tough to get them off, so I'm going to get some pasta bandage and just redo this and repaint it. I may put a little bit of, oh, I don't know, some color on it too, just so it, you know, when I put this the new rock face on, it doesn't show through underneath. So that's going to be my next job. Actually, my next job is to vacuum up all the little bits of plaster on the bottom there. So let's do that first. So in the time it's taken me to do this, I've managed to mold 2 sets of rocks. So I'm going to be molding rocks for a few days, but let's get on and do some of the patching up here. So to patch this up, I decided rather than plaster bandage to mix up some Sculptamold. So I'm going to use Sculptamold to patch it. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. Now with Sculptamold, they tend to apply it fairly liberally and then just come back over it as it starts to set up and just smooth it out. And it works quite nicely when you do that. And I think this will work in terms of patching this. So I'll let this dry. And we'll get some brownie green paint on it. Yeah, I'm not too worried about this area up here, because that's just going to get covered with rocks anyway. So while all this dries, it gives us an excuse to run some trains. And just for a change today, let's run a couple of DC trains. This outside line here is my DC line, and every so often I just like to run some of my older DC trains. So as you can see, I have some rocks that are already molded. They look pretty good. I really quite like them for more of that slatey type look. They'll be good when they're painted. Another set here to pull out of the molds. Don't worry too much if these don't come out in one piece. They tend to break up, but you don't want them all looking the same anyway, so I just don't worry too much about that. I tend to take the edge stuff off and throw it back in the pot because I grind all those pieces up and I'll reuse them next time I do some molding. As long as you've got sort of sloppy stuff on the bottom of the mold, it'll take that form, and you can put some of these chunks into the back part of the mold, and they just bulk it up and you don't use as much plaster that way. This one looks a bit suspicious on the back. I like to try to get them flatter than that if I can, because that's where they dig into the glue. Let's see what else we have here. Yep, these are going to look great, but as you realize, I'm going to probably need about 20 molds worth to do that whole area that I need to do, so I'll get on and throw some more. Now there's a scenario where it didn't fill properly. Not a big deal. Rocks are all sorts of shapes and sizes.
Hey, so thanks for watching today as I was doing some of this redo of the rock face here. I'll be back once I get some of those rock molds done, enough of them done and painted to start putting something together along here. It'll be later in the week. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, and we'll see you soon.